Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about movies, TV and online content and help you answer the question, when are we getting cast in Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer? Because it seems like everybody is getting cast in that movie. I'm your host, Ashley Hobley. Joining me today, Dylan Blight.
We'll probably have to join the Actors Guild or pay our dues, I reckon. Or else we can't legally be cast, Ash.
That's true. I guess.
Serious answer to your question.
As soon as we get that SAG card,
yeah, just need to cover all ground,
Just have to fix it up before, filming starts.
I think it's about $500 a year.
I don't know if we'd get that many acting. this weird hypothetical is like it's rolling out of control. But yeah, I looked at the Wikipedia. There is currently 36 actors listed attached to Oppenheimer, which is crazy.
Don't even know what an Oppenheimer is,
He's the guy who invented the atom bomb. Don't you know about this Christopher Nolan movie?
No, I don't. I'm meaning.
Okay. I mean, the big meme would be you would definitely get cast and I would not because I'm a person of color. So that's the meme going around at the moment.
I mean, is there any white people in it? Or?
There's only white people in it. Which I mean,
only a white person would invent the atom bomb. So
yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to be involved, unless there's one person who's like, no, we should stop doing this. We don't know what road this is going down. That can be a person of color.
Yeah.
On today's episode of What Do You Want to Watch, we'll be discussing what's in our watch history. We'll be giving our Academy Award predictions, a little bit of news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and talking about this week's top 3. We'll kick things off with a movie that we've already got a spoiler cast out for on the What Do You Want to Watch podcast feed. The latest Pixar movie, Turning Red, which follows a young girl, 13-year-old, who loves boy bands, is kind of caught between her mother and her friends, and is cursed to turn into a panda whenever she feels... A red panda, sorry. Whenever she feels high levels of emotions. Dylan, what are your spoiler-free thoughts on Turning Red?
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite Pixar one in a few years. Really enjoyed it. Really great animation, inspired by anime. It's not full anime, obviously, but there's a lot of inspirations there. I think the characters are fantastic, having this sort of girl lead cast who are, seeing them in a way that you usually wouldn't see girls portrayed in a kids animated movie, I think is really, really great. And then, it hits in the feels by the end, and you have the way it ends is you get it turns into a movie you may not expect it to be for about 10-15 minutes there, which is pretty funny. And, really, really good. So, I gave it a 8 on Trakt.
All right. I really enjoyed it as well. I think, it's very fun. It's a cool family movie. Lots of, definitely a different side of girls I guess a lot of young kids don't see or I was willing to accept. It's been interesting to see the reaction to this movie more than anything else. And it's girls aren't cringy like that. And all these girls coming yes, we were cringy this entire time writing fan fiction and drawing, obsessing about boys and shit like that. So yeah, that's been quite interesting.
50 Shades of Grey was fan fiction for Twilight.
Yeah.
Girls write fan fiction. It's
crazy. It exists. It happens. But yeah, really beautiful, really cool anime elements added in, whether it's people having starry eyes or turning red, their face turning red when they get angry. And then, the panda of it all is super cute and fluffy. So fluffy. It's beautifully animated by Pixar, taking their Monsters Inc. fur to another level. Yeah, super enjoyable. It's it's interesting also to see some parents complain about the movie because it raises questions for their kids about what are periods and stuff like that. Have you seen some of the yeah?
No, I haven't.
Some parents are no, you shouldn't watch this movie. One, because again, it brings up periods and that time of the month and that kind of stuff in the movie, and then also you shouldn't watch it because the child disobeys their parents. And that's not a message that we want to send to our kids.
Don't children disobey their parents in like
every movie? Yeah.
Yeah, every like kids movie. Especially like think about all the 80s movies. It was literally just kids disobeying their parents and going off on adventures and
this is it's a quite amusing Facebook post. A mother like pointing out all the bad things in the movie.
Karens.
Yeah, good time. So yeah, check out Turning Red on Disney Plus, and then check out our spoiler cast over on this podcast feed. Dylan, you've got a few reviews up. Talk to us about the Disney Plus documentary More Than Robots.
More Than Robots is a Disney Plus documentary about a thing I didn't know anything about, which is always good to go to. Sometimes you go to documentaries and you're like, I know something about this, but other times like this, I'm like, I have no fucking clue what this is about. But it's about, I can't remember the full name, but it's like First Robotics something or other. It's like put together by the dude who like invented the Segway, I think is what he's like claimed to like his biggest sort of invention was, I guess, was the Segway. And it puts on this, it started small.
I think the insulin pump was probably the bigger one.
Is that what else he's done?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think so.
Insulin pump, there you go. For some reason, the Segway is the thing that I remembered.
One is a thing that like helps lots of people stay alive. The other one, an outdated form of transport that nobody really
that's fair. Insulin pump probably, but for some reason my brain's like Segway. Grab onto that information for some reason. So he like invents this robotics competition, or it's less a competition. The movie does like a good job explaining that although these people are, I think they call it like cooperative competition or some weird wording where they're trying to make sure that it's about learning and learning off one another, and although people do win, like it's not all about that, but it has all these like kids from around the world in different schools and extracurricular activities, I guess, like building robots. And it started out small years ago when they first did it, and now it's sort of turned into this really big event where they'll do a bunch of like, you know, normal rounds where eventually it gets down to the final couple teams, and they do like a massive big finale, and they show footage of it in it, where it's like will.i.am's playing there and all this sort of stuff. So it's like a full-on, like crazed event with all these people attending to watch the robots. In this one, it follows 4 teams. There's 2 American teams, 1 team from Japan, and 1 team from Mexico. I would say the one, I can't remember their name off the top of my head here, but I did mention it in the review. There's 1 team from America who sort of, I feel like was the lead team because they're sort of billed as the underdog team. They're from a school that doesn't have much funding. They've got like they don't even have a proper room to build stuff. They're doing it in like the school's hallway or something like that. I'd say they're sort of the lead, but the movie, it does cover some other interesting things, including like a bunch of the girls in Japan. I would say the kids, I don't get proper age, but I would say the kids would be around 16. If I had to guess, I would say somewhere, 14 to 16. Maybe there's like different age groups in there, but that's sort of what the age I would guess. Could be wrong, but yeah, some of the girls in Japan, they do a bit where they're talking about, they didn't realize they could like get into this sort of stuff, like STEM in general, and how they hope that them doing it in the movie in general sort of puts an eye on girls in STEM, sort of would be a good angle to take. But yeah, it's just really interesting. I would say that the movie sort of falls apart kinda at the end, the last 20 minutes, because of COVID. So it's not really the movie's fault, it's just COVID's fault. Where you follow the whole movie, you're tracking these teams, the whole idea is, of course, they're talking about, trying to reach the finals of this competition, and then COVID happens. The finals are cancelled. They never come back. This was filmed like 2019 to early 2020 when the competition was starting up, and then of course COVID was starting. And then you can tell like straight away it's like they're now getting footage for the documentary from people on Sky, from Zoom calls, and like all this sort of stuff. It does have a bittersweet message where it covers what the kids are doing in their spare time and how some of them are now building robots to help people, be that like taking food to their cars or like doing a lot of other weird jobs, like, and how they were using their skills during the COVID time. So it is like a sweet ending, but just sort of like you are watching like 70% of a movie, like who's going to get there to the finale, and you never know. So it's sort of like you can't blame the movie, but it's like disappointing, of course. And then the other thing I think's worth mentioning is it was directed by Gillian Jacobs, her first feature of any sort, which was she's directing a fiction feature upcoming as well, but this was her first feature straight up, which was, if you don't know who she is, she's the most prominent from Community, I guess.
Yeah, and then she was in the Judd Apatow series Love that was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she directed it. Shout out.
Yeah, I watched it as well. It was quite enjoyable and interesting. Obviously, all these kids have a passion for this robotics program. It's like, it's cool, like seeing this program, like the actual like championships or whatever. Like, it's like when I think robot competitions, I think like battle bots and stuff like that.
Yeah, I should have mentioned they're not actually fighting. It's
no, they're like they've
like
got different tasks that they need to do, which is cool, and I like seeing the different teams tackle it in different ways, given their resources and that kind of stuff is quite interesting. But yeah, like you said, like it kind of doesn't have a satisfying ending because COVID hit, and I feel like there's a couple of documentaries I've seen in the last couple of years that it's like the big one that came to mind was like Last Chance U basketball, where they're building up this entire season of the basketball leading up to the playoffs or whatever, and then COVID hits and it's all cancelled. So yeah,
makes me wonder if they sat on it because like obviously it's 2022.
Hoping, yeah,
and now they just release it now, so don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, some of the kids are really cool, interesting, and like have interesting perspectives and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I found it quite enjoyable. So you can check that out on Disney Plus. Now we've got a couple of Shudder reviews as well. Talk to us about The Seed.
The Seed is about these three girls who are like on a weekend getaway, I guess. It's out in like the desert in Texas or somewhere, I think is where it is. And they're like at a B&B or whatever. And it's a really weird relationship from the outset because the main girl, you've got like two blondes and a brown-haired girl. And the two blondes are like sort of the more influencer, like, yeah, let's like take pics in their bikinis all weekend sort of types, especially the one girl who's like a heavy, like nearly written over the top influencer, but it's on purpose, like playing up the thing. Like she's talking, like she's live streaming to her followers, all this sort of shit. And then the third girl, which is really weird, she's like, oh, I don't use social media. I have a flip phone. Like it's like the complete opposite to the point that you're like, how are these people even friends? But and they never explain it. I guess it's weird. But they're like hanging around or whatever, chilling, talking for the first bit. And it is like semi-enjoyable because the dialogue is sort of so over the top and all of the girls like sort of commit to their ridiculous characters that it is enjoyable for what it is. But then boom, it's that night. I think it's their first night. And then boom, like a meteor crashes in their pool. And out crawls they find a little mole rat, fucked up mole rat looking thing. So an alien from the sky. And without spoiling what happens after that, they don't know what to do with it first, but yeah, the rest of the movie is sort of what happens when how they deal with this alien. It gets into some weird territory by the end of the movie, but my main complaint was that I feel like the first 3/4 was very tongue-in-cheek. The movie wasn't taking itself at all very seriously, and it was sort of fun for that. And then in the last act where, shit starts to happen, all of a sudden the movie just felt like it switched gears and it was like, oh, we're like super serious, like alien movie now. Just felt a little bit weird, like a tonal shift. So that was sort of my main complaint. I really like the look of the creature, like it's an actual puppet or whatever. So I can always appreciate that. But yeah, I can't remember what I gave it, like a 6 or something. Sounds about right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's okay. I'd say it's okay on our scale. Yeah.
All right. Tell us about The Bunker Game.
I didn't really like this one. So it has a good premise. For the first 10-15 minutes, I was enjoying it, and then I pretty much like zoned out pretty quickly as the movie progressed. Where I was like, I kind of got bored, to be honest. But the premise is the movie starts, and you got all these people, and they're in like of course, abandoned. It's set now, so it's like a Nazi bunker, and they're doing a role play down there. So they've got, people acting out as the storyline they're acting out is that America bombed Germany. They went to hiding in this bunker, and then the surface is too nuclearified or whatever. They can't go to the surface. So, and then you've got some characters that you're introduced to, characters playing characters in this role play. In the first 10-15 minutes, where they're you got the super still Nazi commander dude, and you've got some of the people who are trying to fight against the regime from inside. I'm this is all very cool. And I thought the movie was going to be, people start getting killed, while they're doing a role play. So you're who's in, I was that's cool. I'm down for this, sort of jumping out of the shadows. Who's who? Are they playing character? Who's not playing? What's going on here? But no, there's an accident, and then nearly everyone's kicked out. Well, everyone leaves the bunker, all the main people, and then you're left with I think it's 5 or 6, which are the leaders or whatever they're called, are left there, and they're trying to find the head game master dude who's disappeared, and then some ghost shit starts happening basically, or spooky things. It's not from that point I kind of was whatever. None of the characters grabbed me or interesting. There's a weird love triangle thing set up for some reason I didn't think needed to be in it at all. It's shot all right. It's got an interesting use of the location, but yeah, I thought the movie I had in my head was a lot more interesting than what I ended up watching. I think I gave it a 3.5.
3.5, yeah. All right. Okay, so I checked out the new series that's dropped on Binge, Winning Time, which is the story about the rise of the Los Angeles Lakers, mainly focused around the selection and rise, early career of Magic Johnson, at least to start off with. It does kick off with, obviously, the team being bought by Cherie Bus, played by John C. Reilly, who's he's a property guy, self-made millionaire who decides he really loves basketball. He's going to buy the Los Angeles Lakers, and is kind of scrounging up every last penny that he has to try and get this deal through in the first episode and that kind of stuff. Also, while trying to woo, Magic Johnson, arguably the best player in the upcoming draft to come to Los Angeles. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's got a really fun dynamic. It does have that Vice or no. It's of Adam McKay is one of the producers, so it's got that. Yeah. What was his
speaking to the camera?
Yeah, speaking to the camera thing. With a lot of the characters, breaking, a lot of fourth ball breaking elements to it throughout the first 2 episodes and that kind of stuff, but I'm finding it really enjoyable. I think, the
Big Short, I guess it's the most
The Big Short. That's the movie that I was trying to think of that I could not think of. I'm enjoying it so far. It is 2 episodes in. They have not had a proper official game of basketball yet. So, it's all the off-field kind of behind-the-scenes stuff they've focused on so far. But yeah, a lot of interesting characters. I think Quincy Isaiah, who plays Magic Johnson, he's quite interesting. He's really good. John C. Reilly is fantastic. They've also got Jason Clarke playing Jerry West, the coach of the Lakers. Lots of different people throughout the series. They just had Michael Chiklis, who people would know from The Shield, show up as the owner of the Boston Celtics, who are obviously the big rivals of the Lakers and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, quite interesting. Only 2 episodes in so far, so I'm quite enjoying it. I'm looking forward to that continuing over on Binge. I also checked out How I Met Your Father, which is obviously the sequel to How I Met Your Mother, well, kind of sequel. Finally, the episode's released in Australia on Disney Plus. Starring Hilary Duff as the person wanting to find the love of their life. Kim Cattrall plays the future version. It very much has a very similar formula to How I Met Your Mother, in which, it's a mystery. The person, one of these people she meets on this first night is going to be the father. They have a very clear premise at the start. she gets in a Uber with Chris Lau. I think that's right. Who people would know from Veronica Mars and other stuff.
Glow.
Yeah. From Glow, yeah. He gets in his Uber. She's going on a Tinder date with a person that she thinks is definitely the one for her. They've been talking for ages. They're finally going to meet in person. She realizes she's left her phone in his car, so he has to go to the bar that his friend works at for his engagement party. So there's an engagement in the first episode, similar to the first episode of How I Met Your Mother. And then someone at that engagement party is the father, is the setup at the end of the episode. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think there's an interesting dynamic between all the different characters, and like there's a different crew, definitely different flavor to the How I Met Your Mother cast and that kind of stuff. But I'm quite enjoying it. There are some like very cool nods to the original series. The most prominent is at the end of the first episode. Chris Lau's character Jesse and his roommate, Sid, go back to their apartments, and it's the apartment from How I Met Your Mother. It's like we got this off a old married couple or whatever. So I'm really enjoying it. It's only like 3 episodes in.
You haven't seen one of the other things that happened spoiled for you on the internet then?
No, I did see what it was.
Okay.
I saw the articles. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I'll just click.
Yeah, I think that was possibly the last episode because for some reason,
there's only 10
I don't know why
episodes.
they were like, oh, let's like not put it in Australia until it's like nearly finished.
It's probably like licensing deals or whatever. I don't know, because obviously it's a Hulu series or whatever. So, but yeah, I'm enjoying that. You should check it out on Disney Plus. Dylan, you checked out the new Ben Affleck Anna Diarmas?
Yeah.
Sexual thriller, Deep Water. The movie that just kind of disappeared and now it's here.
Yeah. It's meh. I think I've seen some people say they really like this. Others are a bit more like me. So it seems to be a sort of love it or hate it sort of thing. It is just like, so the premise for this, it's hard, like, without spoiling. The movie starts and you're introduced to Ben Affleck's character, and he's married to Anna Diarmas. This is character. They have a kid. However, she has other sexual partners. He does not. And it is that you're led to believe that he sort of allows it so that you can have a happy family life. Like maybe she was going to leave him. I don't, without saying if the movie says anything more than that, it may or may not. But that's sort of the setup. And as the movie continues, things start to get weirder, I guess, between them as she introduces a new lover into their life. I guess is the easy way to set it all up. I just feel like no character in this feels real. And it's not like, and I'm not coming at this as a no man would let his wife sweep with other people. I'm like, polyamorous people exist. That's fine. It's just the way they are written. And it's just and not even them. Also all the side characters, everyone just feels weird in this movie. Just off. They're living in a completely different universe. And also Ben Affleck's character, he plays it very similar to his character in Gone Girl, which is fine. I know people may say, I remember one of the criticisms for his role in Gone Girl was this is bad acting. I'm like, no, it really worked in Gone Girl because it was supposed to be this sort of creepy dude. You couldn't tell if he was a liar or he was the truth, the one saying the truth. And that's a similar sort of thing that he gives this, which is what's necessary for this role. However, it just feels like a repeat, and it's not in a as good movie, or nowhere near as good movie, because Gone Girl is really fucking good. So, and Anna Diarmas, her character is just, I don't like her. at all. Like, I don't know if I was supposed to feel sorry for her. I don't really ever. I don't know if I was like, I was like, I don't really like either character. That's the thing. Like, I don't know who I'm for in this movie. I don't know if I missed the point or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know. Ben Affleck's character seems boring. I got nothing going on with him. Not vibing with his character. She just seems like an absolute loose cannon. Someone who I'd never want to meet in my life. Like, I'm not getting anything out of this. It's a weird, like, people are talking about this, like, the reviving of a genre because Adrian Lin came back out of like 20 years of fucking retirement to direct this after. He's most famous doing like Fatal Attraction, I guess, is like like the peak of sort of, or one considered like one of these classic sort of sexual, like, is like man cheating on woman sort of like sexual thrillers where there's like, and he shoots all the sex scenes with fucking handycam for some reason, which he does in this one as well. I don't know, he's weird. Like, he's 80 years old. Like, I think he's like legit like 80 years old. It's a weird movie to be directing. So I don't know why he came out of retirement to do this, but yeah, definitely wasn't worth it unless he was out of money, I guess. But good.
I don't think it would have, seeing as it just got thrown on Amazon.
So it's just seen it just got thrown around. Yeah. So I was looking forward to this because I really like the cast, and I guess I like these types of thrillers in general when they're done well. But yeah, I think I gave it like a 5 on Trakt. That's where I'd be around for this. So yeah, I would say don't watch it. It also goes for like 2 hours, and like it drags. Like, I was bored by then. So
I know. Yeah, the reaction to it seems a bit mixed. So some people like comparing it to Gone Girl, like a spiritual successor.
Gone Girl's fantastic. Just watch that instead. Watch Gone Girl instead. Just watch it again. There's my thing.
That's your thing. All right. I checked out the TV series Minx that we talked about the trailer for last week. It's on Stan. Follows a young woman named Joyce whose dream has always been to create a feminist magazine during set in the 1970s, when magazines actually were being released regularly, like new ones were being published all the time. But, there is very little interest in a magazine. It's consuming her life. Her boyfriend kind of gives her an ultimatum. It's either him or her magazine. And she decides she's going to keep pursuing the magazine. At a convention, a pitch fest, she comes across Jake Johnson's character, Doug, who is the owner or publisher of a lot of male adult magazines. And he pitches, that she should come do a magazine for him in which she can do all his feminist stuff, but hide the medicine by having male centerfolds in the magazine. I really enjoyed this. I believe it's completely original. I don't think it's based on a true story.
I googled this after we did it last time because I was like, "Is this a real thing?" But no, I didn't.
No, but the interesting thing is that there's a big turning point in the story in which she's like, "I don't really don't want to do this." But then in Cosmopolitan, Burt Reynolds did a centerfold. I'm pretty sure it's real.
That's a real thing.
Yes. He does a centerfold, and she's like, yeah, people really are into this. This could be a success. So yeah, it's really good. I'm really enjoying it. Jake Johnson, I'm a fan. Like, I'll watch anything he's in pretty much. I feel you love Bond. She's really a great lead, even though she's it's interesting to see her in this because it's very clear. She's kind of sexually repressed character who is like very timid around all the open sickness, especially when she walks into the offices of this magazine and they're like taking photo shoots of women, and there's all these posters in the room about all these magazines, and that kind of stuff, and like them having like a casting call for the photo shoot, and it's all these men coming into this room and just taking off their pants. There's a lot of full frontal nudity in this TV series. But yeah, really enjoyable. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's like quite interesting, little series. There's 2 episodes at the moment. I believe they'll release 2 episodes every Thursday night because it's going in release with the HBO on HBO Max. So I recommend
2 a week. That's weird.
I think so. That's kind of what it looked like.
Odd release schedule, isn't it? Would they done that for anything else?
I mean, other things like release multiple episodes in the one go. So
yeah, I haven't heard any of the HBO Max stuff. I thought they were all week.
I think well, that's just based on like an episode thing that I saw, but that is now gone from the Wikipedia page. So maybe they will stretch it out to a week. Yeah, it looked like it was going to be 2 a week, but yeah. Now we'll see. Yeah, I'm really digging it. You should check it out. Also on Stan, I watched Show Me the Money, which is a documentary series focusing on the player agents of the AFL at the end of last season, during the trade period and the draft. It's a nice taster. Like if you wanted to do a little bit of an AFL fix before the season kicked off, this kind of goes behind the scenes of what the draft period kind of looks like, and like kind of has a small look at like the relationship between players and agents. I feel like, especially compared to something else I'll talk about in a second, like it is very short and doesn't cover as much as you would hope. It's like, especially when we had that other AFL documentary like a couple of years ago, like where they followed them through the whole season and that kind of thing. This is like 3 or 4 weeks. It's like really hard to get much stories, especially it didn't help that this trade season didn't have like any massive trades or anything. It was all quite small. Yeah, I think this would have worked better if it had to follow these people for like a whole year, so you could kind of get a look at what their day-to-day actually looks like. Like what are they, how are they actually dealing with clients? How do they get clients? And that kind of thing. But yeah, as like a precursor to the season, I think it works reasonably well. Yeah, only 3 episodes long. It follows 4 different agencies, like 4 groups of characters. One of them, is quite amusingly, was the winner of the first season of Big Brother. So he won that show, rode the publicity train for a while, is like, oh, it's starting to die off. I'm going to use this money to do something I love. And he starts his own AFL player agency, which is quite amusing. But yeah, it's quite, it's alright if you're an AFL fan. It's worth the under 3 hours to watch the 3 episodes. So yeah. Show Me the Money on Stan. Alright, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. So I watched the big Netflix release, well, one of the big Netflix releases of the last 2 weeks, the Ryan Reynolds film, The Adam Project. So this follows Ryan Reynolds' character, Adam Reed, who's a time pilot from 2050. He opens the film escaping from some benevolent force. He accidentally goes back in time to 2022, in which he encounters his younger self, and he needs to interact with him because he needs him to help him fix his ship, because his ship is DNA connected, and he got shot in the process of escaping and doesn't have enough DNA is not healthy enough to turn the ship on.
That's such a convoluted.
Listen, I'm not even going to try and explain the plot of this movie. It is convoluted. It is very much pulling a lot of different threads from different things you love. I really dug it. I really enjoyed the first 3 quarters of the movie. It is quite enjoyable. I think the young kid they've got to play the younger version of him, Scoble Walker, I want to say, off the top of my head. Walker Scoble, yeah. He's quite good and gives that Ryan Reynolds delivery of things that works, because this kid is an asshole, because Ryan Reynolds like usually plays an asshole. So he says a lot of dickish things, especially, the first thing you see is him getting beaten up by a bunch of bullies, and him just having a smart ass mouth the entire time. Yeah, there's like a lot of moments of enjoyable, like, banter, and Ryan Reynolds being a dick to the younger version of himself because he kind of hates himself. and that kind of stuff. It's quite enjoyable, and then you add like some of the sci-fi elements to that. It's like pretty amusing. Zoe Saldana shows up at one point. She's great. Jennifer Garner plays his mother, and she's really good as well. It gets bad towards the end when they have more of the sci-fi elements, and especially when they bring in Catherine Keener, who is like the big bad, including a younger version of herself, in which features probably the worst deepfake de-aging tech we've seen so far. It is pretty horrendous. Yeah, it's pretty bad to look at. But yeah, it kind of unravels towards the end. It becomes like a CGI fest, and a pretty bad CGI fest at that. But you know, for the most part, I kind of enjoyed it. there's certain elements that like pulled at your heartstrings and like made you feel, and like were kind of cool, and like it's cool to see Ryan Reynolds do what he does best. So yeah, I think, you know, worth checking out the Adams Project. You know, maybe you'll work a little bit more for you if you don't. As long as you're prepared. As long as you're prepared for like bad Catherine Keener de-aging characters, you know, and like badly photoshopped like photos of like celebrities together. You know what I mean?
Well, if I'm sick of Ryan Reynolds just doing Ryan Reynolds.
Why would you be sick of Ryan Reynolds doing Ryan Reynolds, seeing as you just watched the other, as you just watched Red Notice, the other Netflix movie starring Ryan Reynolds?
That movie is so bad. There's my review. It's the most like, yeah, I feel like it's just like the movie was cast and then they wrote the script per day as they were filming. You know, like the action scenes and the story is like whatever. It's literally just like, is the most paint by numbers. We got Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and the Dwayne Johnson in a movie together. That'll sell itself. Fuck, I was bored. Oh my god. I zoned out. Bad. Don't watch Red Notice.
Alright. There you go. Also, you watched the last part of the Genius trilogy. What did you...
Didn't finish it. Shit. I lost complete attention. I decided to go do something else. I had like 20 minutes left. I probably won't finish it. What a good start, you know what I mean? Like, let's reiterate again. That first episode of Jesus, that's good. You should all watch that. Just pretend part 2 and 3 don't exist.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. I understand. Yep. Did you at least get to the bit where he did, like, he's running for president? Or didn't get that far?
Maybe I didn't get that far. Maybe I've got more than 20 minutes left. Maybe that's in the last 20 minutes. Fuck that far.
It probably is in the last 20 minutes, yeah. Who knows?
I better go watch that.
Goes forever. No, don't. It's fine. We'll move on. Not a great.
It's hard to watch. It's hard to watch Kanye with him on the news constantly being a prick too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
At least watching part 1, you were like, he's so young and sort of like, as I said, like he's cocky, but
it's kind of like a different person.
You can sort of like vibe with him, and then now it's like, well, this is the Kanye that's like just got banned from performing at the Grammys. Like, no, I'm good.
All right. So I watched season 4, Drive to Survive, the big F1 documentary series that everybody kind of looks forward to at the start of every year before the Formula 1 season kicks off. Of course, this season kind of had a lot of buzz going into it because of the conclusion of last season, in which, spoilers, Max Verstappen ended up world champion in controversy. I enjoyed it. It's like as good as all the other seasons, you know. Lots of cool behind the scenes kind of stuff. It is kind of messy. Obviously, Max Verstappen is like, he doesn't want to be part of the show because he believes, like, obviously, he says they manipulate some of the footage so it looks like they've got rivalries and that kind of stuff. And that is completely true. They do manipulate it to make it tell stories in certain ways. But that, in my opinion, that's fine. Obviously, this show is like greatly enhanced people's interest in the show, in the sport. So you can kind of forgive some of that. It's interesting also watching it back. One of the drivers for the team Haas is Nikita Mazepin, who is Russian, and probably is known because in the last few weeks he's been kicked out of the sport because he is Russian, and like his father has clear ties to Putin and that kind of stuff. And then watching this with that news is like, I don't know if they purposely made it like presented him in a bad light on purpose, but yeah, they both look pretty terrible through this. So
there's no way they could have edited this. This would have been sitting ready.
No, it's pretty clear they were dicks before. So I mean, it doesn't. It's hard, that kind of stuff. With regards to the conclusion of the season, I kind of wish there had been more time between the events. You know what I mean? Like if they had had more reaction to that last lap, had more reaction from other voices other than the direct two teams that are involved. That would have been cool. And it just kind of ends after, Max Verstappen wins, he celebrates. Yeah, it kind of felt like a bit anticlimactic. Unless you're someone who likes Max Verstappen or who didn't know what was how the events unfolded.
Do you think it just would have been better if someone won who's actually involved in the show?
That would have helped.
Yeah.
But the team boss, Christian Horner, is like in it a lot. Like he's one of the key people, I think, getting the show up and running and that kind of stuff. But yeah, really good. It was really interesting to see all the like smaller drivers, and obviously the other big story running through the season was the battle between George Russell and Valtteri Bottas to potentially fill the Mercedes slot this season, and kind of seeing how that kind of played out was interesting. So yeah, if you're a big F1 fan, you should watch this season of Drive to Survive. Dylan, there is another show that I've been watching in the last few days. I've just been binge watching it through. It's the baking show, Is It Cake? In which a bunch of professional cake makers try to fool judges into thinking their cake is not actually cake.
They've
but
literally taken that TikTok fucking video trend and just made it a show.
Yeah. So these 9 bakers come and are competing for prize money to fool these mostly Netflix presenters, judges, into believing, that their cake is an actual real whatever it is. I enjoyed it. It's super charming. Mikey Day from Saturday Night Live hosts. He's fine. I think his humor will work for some people and probably won't work for others. But there's a lot of camaraderie amongst the competitors and that kind of stuff. It's not like there's no like bitchy characters or people like super antagonistic or in it for themselves. There's super like togetherness feeling about the show, which kind of makes you feel good about watching it and seeing these people compete and like them get excited about succeeding. And like, it's crazy some of the shit they do. Like making all these cakes that could believably look like a cake of a bowling pin that looks like an actual bowling pin, or a cake of like a statue of a duck make it look real. Is pretty crazy. So I recommend checking out an episode or two and see how you feel about it. It's quite a fun little show to have fun in the background or zone out to. I think it's quite.
People do reacts to the TikTok ones where they'll watch the videos, the montage of people and be trying to guess what it is and be like, cake fuck.
I think Mikey Day he has the knife. He goes around with knives and starts cutting all sorts of stuff. They have a challenge where they're they cook for the judges. If they fool the judges, they pass through. If more than one person fools the judges, then the judges decide based on how good the cake is and how good the cake tastes, who wins. They go into a final round where they have to choose between two like a bag of money and then a cake that's looked like a bag of money just to win $5,000. They have to figure out which one's a cake. That's like the thing at the end of each episode. So it's quite enjoyable, and it's crazy to think people make these cakes look. Yeah, it is quite random. I've also a few episodes into. Well, I'm probably like halfway through the Big Mouth spin-off series, Human Resources, in which you follow all the different hormone monsters and love bugs and hate worms and shame wizards and depression cats. There's like a lot of different things. It's enjoyable. It's like, obviously it is not Big Mouth. There's definitely, it takes that growing up element out of it, but it is definitely connected. Obviously, like Andrew shows up in one episode. Obviously, you do have Maurice and Connie, and pretty much all the different hormone monsters you've seen through the show. But it does introduce a new love bug called Emmy, voiced by Adie Bryant, who is kind of the focused character through the season. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's like got that same kind of Big Mouth tone of
Here's
crazy.
my question for the show. What is the point? Because the thing that makes Big Mouth good is the growing up aspect and like the sort of like outlandish humor is just like that makes it funny, but the reason the show's good is because it has like serious sort of undertones or whatever. So what's this like? Why like?
I think it is more the outlandish.
Yeah, so is it? It's just
it
it's
does
just
have
outlandish.
like it does like this season. It's following this woman named Becca as well, who is Emmy's like first person that she's like she's a love bug. She's filling in for the love bug who was caring for Becca because she got fired, and she's just had a baby, and it's like dealing with that time period between after you've had a baby and like postpartum depression and like being constantly overwhelmed by this kid who's like demanding so much of you and you're not having your needs met and that kind of stuff. I feel like it's got that element to it as well. It does touch on a few other trends, like other smaller characters around them and that kind of stuff. But yeah, it more leans on the outlandish humor kind of side, where all the hormone monsters are like want to fuck everywhere in the office, and it's like, hey, someone from Human Resources comes along. It's like, hey, you can't do that anymore. It's like, well, no, yes, we can. And it's like, come to a compromise where they get their own room where they can fuck all the time. So, it's funny. It's amusing. There's some crazy side stories and that kind of stuff. So yeah, if you enjoyed the monsters side of Big Mouth and that's the side you loved more, this will really speak to you. But yeah, it's enjoyable. All right, that's everything in our watch histories. Let's move on. This week, we're talking about our predictions for the 94th Academy Awards. So we'll go through each category, giving our predictions. If you also want to say who you want to win, and not necessarily who you actually predicted, you can say that as well. And sort of give
predict with my heart, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just give some explanation behind your picks, is all I'm saying. You know? Alright, so let's kick things off with Best Visual Effects. The nominees are Dune, Free Guy, No Time to Die, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Dylan?
I went with Dune. I think that film uses often the thing people forget this award is it's like best visual effects to help the movie, not just the most flashy visual effects. And I feel like everything about the effects in Dune is really, really good and obviously helped elevate that movie. Whereas, something like Free Guy is just, it's a big CGI fuckfest. So my favorite genre.
Absolutely. Yeah, I also went with Dune. I think, like, spinning off slightly what you said, it's definitely for the best special effects, not for the most special effects. Or at least not the most obvious special effects. And Dune definitely has the most subtle, but effective special effects probably of that batch. And spoiler alert, I'm predicting Dune to do very well, especially in these technical awards. So, next category is Best Sounds. Nominees are Belfast, Dune, No Time to Die, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. I've gone with Dune. I think, it is just going to sweep a lot of these technical awards, and, it does sound good. The sound of the dragonfly ship things, it's cool.
Yeah, I went with Dune as well, so for basically the same reasons. I just think it has the best sound mix of the thing. So because they changed it, it's like you used to have 2 categories, and then you just got best sound. So
yeah, like cutting more things. Next category, best short live action. The nominees are Ala Kuchu, Take and Run, The Dress, The Long Goodbye, On My Mind, and Please Hold. Dylan?
I haven't watched any of these shorts, so everything in any of these categories I'm just guessing, so I have no follow-up reason as to other than I just guessed. Unlike last year, I actually had time and managed to watch some. This year, nada. So I've gone with The Long Goodbye.
That's the one I picked at random as well.
Wow.
I mean, it sounds good, It's like a good title. I know you shouldn't judge things on the title, but why not?
But in this case, literally all that's happened.
All right, next category is Best Short Animated. The nominees are Affairs of the Art, Bestia, Box Bellet, Robin, and The Windshield Wiper. I've gone Robin, which is that's the Aardman animation entry. Big Christmas movie, like 30 minutes long. It's got like full on merchandise done by Netflix. I think it's big enough that it'll probably it's probably like a big enough known quality that the people just vote for it. So yeah, that's my pick.
I went Box Ballot.
Let's see, I'm not sure if it's Box Ballot or Box Ballet.
I went Box Ballet.
It could be Ballot.
Whatever, I went that.
You just picked it random?
Yeah, random.
All right, next category. Best Production Design. The nominees are Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. Dylan?
I went West Side Story because I feel like it has everything. For some of these categories where I've picked West Side Story, it's more or less because I'm like, man, it's set during the 50s, 60s, whatever the fuck it's set. All those costumes and the set design and everything that speaks to Academy. That swears Academy Award. But as much as I think West Side Story wins, I would love Nightmare Alley to actually win this because I think it has like really good production design. So
I've gone with Dune again. I think we know that so much of those sets were practical, like full-on spaceships and that kind of stuff. I think that people appreciate that, and like all the costume designs are really cool, like all the suits, and I think production design-wise, very high up there as well. Next category, Best Original Song. The nominees are Be Alive from King Richard, Dos Oruguitas from Encanto, Down to Joy from Belfast, No Time to Die from No Time to Die, and Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days. I've gone with Dos Oruguitas to be the surprise victory here, much in the way that the Coco song, Remember Me, like that's pulled out the win over the top of that song from The Greatest Showman. I'm expecting a surprise in that regard, especially seeing as the Billie Eilish song has been out for like 6 years.
I picked No Time to Die because I feel like none of the rest are super memorable. That said, I also want to point out how funny it is. It goes, No Time to Die, Somehow You Do.
That is quite amusing. It's also quite amusing that they're like pumping up that they're going to perform. We don't talk about Bruno during the ceremony.
Yeah, that song should have been nominated. That's the only one I remember from the movie.
I mean, I don't know how they decide these things. Next category, Best Original Score. The nominees are Don't Look Up by Nicholas Britell, Dune by Hans Zimmer, Encanto from Jermaine Franco, Parallel Mothers from Alberto Iglesias, and The Power of the Dog, Johnny Greenwood. Dylan?
I've gone The Power of the Dog. That's my personal and what I think will win. I think it's a fantastic score. Very important to that movie. Very important in setting the scene and the tone and everything, and just the general build-up of the backbone of that movie. So yeah, I've gone The Power of the Dog.
I've gone with Dune again. I think, obviously, Hans Zimmer, big name, but that score was like weird and crazy and was fairly alien and felt like something that was fitting of a sci-fi epic like Dune. So that's the way I went. Best makeup and hairstyling. Nominees are Coming to America, Cruella, Dune, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, House of Gucci. I've gone with Cruella, which I feel like is an odd choice, but I think for a movie that's obviously high on fashion, it's also kind of high on makeup. Maybe not as prosthetic or prosthetic heavy as the last couple of nominees have been, but yeah, that's where I'm leaning. Dylan?
I picked The Eyes of Tammy Faye, but my personal pick I'd love for Cruella to win. I think that would be like deserving and be great for that to pick it up. But yeah, I've gone Eyes of Tammy Faye. I obviously haven't watched it yet, but I know everyone.
We've all seen Jessica Chastain.
Yeah, we've seen Jessica Chastain, even get Andrew Garfield, the aging and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm going with that. And House of Gucci, Jared Leto does not deserve shit for that. So, not even
in
in the makeup.
Not even in the 6th degree. Not 6 degrees away. Yeah. No. All right. Next category: Best International Feature Film. The nominees are Drive My Car from Japan, Flee from Denmark, The Hand of God from Italy, Luana, A Yak in the Classroom from Bhutan, and The Worst Person in the World from Norway. Dylan?
I went Drive My Car. That's the one with the most buzz. I haven't watched any of these this year, disappointingly, so I'm just going with what I see has the highest praise, which is Drive My Car.
I've also gone with Drive My Car. Obviously, it's nominated for Best Picture, so it's hard not to go. Well, that's clearly the best of that bunch. But I would not be surprised if Flea or Worst Person in the World picks it up.
Yeah. I mean, certainly the Worst Person in the World's been talked about just as much as I Drive My Car, I feel, at some stage. So.
Yeah. I think Worst Person in the World could easily have been the 11th nominee.
Yeah.
Or should have replaced.
Or should have replaced something.
Something.
Yeah.
Next category is Best Film Editing. The nominees are Hank Corwin for Don't Look Up, Joe Walker for Dune, Pamela Martin for King Richard, Peter Skiberis for The Power of the Dog, Myron Kirstein and Andrew Weisblum for Tick, Tick, Boom. I've gone with Dune. It's, again, a big production. Like, I think it is well put together, but I would love for Tick, Tick, Boom to pick it up here. I think, obviously, they make some interesting editing choices throughout the film, whether it's through the songs or, different the storytelling of that movie. Yeah, that would be cool if they won. But yeah, I've gone with the safer pick of Dune.
I've gone with Tick Tick Boom for the reasons you just said. The fantastic editing when they're actually doing the songs and it's cutting back to him performing on stage and then dancing around and the way that's intercut with everything. I think there's as well as everything else. But yeah, I think the editing is sort of the highlight of that movie. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah, interesting. Next category, Best Documentary Short. The nominees are Audible, Lead Me Home, The Queen of Basketball, 3 Songs of Benazir, and When We Were Bullies. Dylan?
I have randomized and picked 3 songs for Benazir.
Alright. I've gone The Queen of Basketball because, the Academy loves sports movies.
Sure.
Good pick as any. Next category, Best Documentary Feature. The nominees are Ascension, Attica, Flee, Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, Riding with Fire, I've gone with Flea, but I reckon Summer of Soul will win purely because it's more of a crowd pleasy kind of documentary, and they a lot of entertainment based documentaries have been successful. But I wouldn't be surprised if Flea like pulls off the win, seeing as it's like a immigrant story, and obviously with a lot of the events happening around the world at the moment, it could like pull off the victory here. And maybe it's been nominated for so much they would want to give it something.
Yeah, I went with Flea because I feel like if it's going to win anywhere, it's here out of everything that it's nominated for. So,
all right. Next category is Best Costume Design. The nominees are Jenny Beavan for Cruella, Massimo Cantini Perini, and Jacqueline Duran for Cyrano, Jacqueline West and Robert Morgan for Dune, Luis Sequeira for Nightmare Alley, Paul Tazewell for West Side Story. Dylan?
I went West Side Story for the stuff I was saying before. All the costumes that the Academy sorts of loves. Older timey sort of stuff, I guess. It's either that or Cyrano, I guess. They love some like dresses. The Academy loves some dresses. Big dresses.
Yeah, the Academy loves big dresses, and that's why I've gone with Cruella. The movie about big dresses.
It's true.
How could it not win?
I just can't. Yeah, I can't.
I think we called it like 6 when the movie came out.
Like if it won, if Cruella wins, I'm fine. That's great. I just don't see the Academy giving Cruella an award for best costume design.
I don't know. It's picked up a lot of awards in the season. So
Academy is the Academy.
It's true.
Different ballgame. But I'd be happy with that. But I'm going West Side Story.
All right. Next category is Best Cinematography. The nominees are Greg Fraser for Dune, Dan Louston for Nightmare Alley, Ari Wegner for The Power of the Dog, Bruno Delbonnel for The Tragedy of Macbeth, and Jazus Krasinski for West Side Story. I've gone with Ari Wegner for Power of the Dog, but I think this is a very close category. I wouldn't be surprised if Greg Fraser picks it up for Dune. I feel like a lot of awards over the season have gone to different cinematographers, but I think Ari Wegner will win it for Power of the Dog, which will be cool. I think the second...
I would love that to be a thing, but I went West Side Story. It's all the highlight of the movie. It's shot very, very well. Even if Ansel Elgort ruins it and some other things, but it's shot very, 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 very well. So,
all right. Next category: Best Animated Feature. The nominees are Encanto, Flea, Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machines, and Raya and the Last Dragon. Dylan?
I went with The Mitchells versus the Machines because fuck it. Let's do it. Let's actually give an award to the movie that deserves it this year and not just to Disney Pixar. And I love Raya. But The Mitchells versus the Machines deserves it.
I also went The Mitchells versus the Machines. I think it is definitely the underdog. I think the frontrunner is Encanto, which picked up like awards at the BAFTAs and Golden Globes and a bunch of different places. We'll get into it later, but obviously the Mitchells won at the Annies. I feel like the Mitchells has been the hardest movie campaigning, at least from what we see on like Twitter and that kind of stuff. It's like you see so much buzz around that movie. You had people like Seth Rogen and that like tweeting out their support. Like, if you can vote for it, vote for it. Hopefully it pulls it out. I love that movie. I think it's the best animated, best story, funniest movie. I'd love it to win, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm expecting to be disappointed. All right. Next category, Best Supporting Actress. The nominees are Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story, Judi Dench for Belfast, Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog, Arjun Ellis for King Richard. I've gone Ariana DeBose. She's like won every single award in the run-up to this. she's a clear favorite, and I don't think she's going to be beaten by anybody on this list, unfortunately.
I've also gone Ariana DeBois for all of that. My personal pick would be Kirsten Dunst, but yeah, Ariana DeBois.
All right. Next category, Best Supporting Actor. The nominees are Ciarán Hinds for Belfast, Troy Kotsur for Coda, Jesse Plemons for The Power of the Dog, J.K. Simmons for Being the Ricardos, and Cody Smith McPhee for The Power of the Dog. Dylan?
I went Troy Costa for Coda, because Coda's been having some random luck lately, so why not? I reckon come through. It would be a really big Oscar moment too for him to win. So, and he would, out of them, he would actually be my personal pick too. So I'm down for that.
Yeah, I also went with Troy Kotsur, who was the Explosion Network's Best Supporting Actor, Best Actor in Supporting Performance from last year. I think he is almost a lock, which is crazy.
Can't wait to tweet that. Congratulations to Explosion Network's winner, our new Oscar win.
Yeah, fantastic performance. He's been so good on the campaign trail, picking up a bunch of awards. Yeah, really happy for him, and excited to see him win an Oscar, and excited to see what clip they show from the movie. Hopefully it's either the doctor scene or him telling the daughter off when he finds a boy in a room. Yeah, both would be great. Best Actress. The nominees are Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for Being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer. I've gone with Jessica Chastain. She's got all the momentum at the moment. It's hard to see, her. She's in a very, very close race. She's currently the favorite, so I'm going to go put my chips on her. Dylan?
I'm all in on commitment. Kristen Stewart. Let's go. I want to say I was there. I want to say I believed. I want to say I picked her. I don't want to say I was, I said I wanted it to be her, but pick someone else. No, I want to commit. I'm picking her.
Okay.
Kristen Stewart.
Let's do it. Let's see. Best Actor. The nominees are Javier Bardem for Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick Tick Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. I've gone with Will Smith. He is another shoe-in at this point. Yeah. Hard to see him losing it at this point, but again, I would love Andrew Garfield to win because he's fantastic in Tick Tick Boom.
I've gone Will Smith as well. I would love Benedict Cumberbatch to win, but yeah, Will Smith seems like the shoe-in.
Yep. All right. Best Original Screenplay. The nominees are Belfast, Don't Look Up, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, The Worst Person in the World. Dylan, what have you gone?
I've gone King Richard. I don't know. I feel like I was nearly going to pick Licorice Pizza, but I don't know. Something pulled me to King Richard, so maybe it's just because I picked Will Smith 2 seconds before I picked this award. That could totally be it. But anyway, I'm going King Richard.
All right. Well, I feel better about my choice because my gut tells me that Licorice Pizza is going to win, but I've gone with The Worst Person in the World. Because, the best original screenplay, or at least one of the screenplay categories, has always been kind of a weird left field, up-and-comer pick. I feel like that's the way this one will go. Obviously, yeah. So I've gone with, Worst Person in the World. Getting some love here. All right, Best Adapted Screenplay. The nominees are Coda, Drive My Car, Dune, The Lost Daughter, and The Power of the Dog. I've gone with The Power of the Dog. I think, it is the front runner, the favorite. Although I would be pretty happy with any of these winning. Coda would be a cool win, considering that script is quite different to the original screenplay. I don't know what Drive My Car is based on. Dune would also be a cool win, seeing as it's a very good movie, and we've had 2 terrible adaptations, or not well received adaptations so far. So, but yeah, I'm picking Power of the Dog.
I also went Power of the Dog. Obviously, it's my favorite movie from the bunch, but I'm also like, I don't know. From what I understand, that was a sort of hard book to adapt and tell the story. So, I mean, same could be said for Dune, I guess. So, I don't know. I'm just going with the Power of the Dog, but yeah, I mean, the rest is fine. There's not like one that's. It's a hard category, so just going with my heart, I guess, a bit.
Yep. All right, next category, Best Director. The nominees are Kenneth Branagh for Belfast, Rizuki Hamaguchi for Drive My Car, Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza, Jane Campion for The Power of the Dog, and Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. I've gone with Jane Campion for Power of the Dog. I feel like there's probably a precursor for the next category, but I think, she's got all the momentum. It's even her latest hiccup, I don't think will derail her run to becoming the first woman to win 2 Best Director Academy Awards.
Yeah, I've gone with her as well. Again, very close category, but just leaning with my heart a bit more. Plus, my heart also lines up with the fact that she has been winning some stuff, so it's not like I'm fucking shooting for fences over here, but yeah, Jane Campion.
Yep.
In her speech, she will not mention black
any she will not compare herself to any athletes. All right. Last category, the big one, Best Picture. The nominees are Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, West Side Story. Dylan, what's your pick?
Power of the Dog, come on baby, let's bring it home.
Yeah, I've also gone Power of the Dog. I think, again, all the momentum's there. Well, actually, not all the momentum is there, but, there is a fair amount of momentum there. Coda is the surprise movie that could upset it. I think just hours before the recording of this podcast, it won at the Producers Guild. Obviously, it won at the SAG Awards. There are clearly some love there for Coda. I think it is clear it's looking on betting sites, it's number 2 behind Power of the Dog, which would be crazy because it's obviously not nominated for a bunch of technical awards, which a lot of previous Best Picture winners have had to take home or at least be nominated for. So it would kind of defy history in that regard, but it would be crazy to see that win. But yeah, it will be Power of the Dog.
I wouldn't mind if Don't Look Up won though, solely because I may have put money on it just in case. And I'm down to win
really?
like $700-800 if it wins. So
what?
Sports bet.
Don't Look Up is at $71.
Yeah, I can't remember when I put money on it. So, but I did it age. I did it before the nominees even came out. The odds were very high. So I was like, nah, fuck it, I'm in.
It's like, if I'm going to feel bad about a movie winning Best Picture, at least I'm going to get paid for it.
At least I can make some money. Yeah, exactly. Another thing I'll say about this is a good time to bring this up. My pop messaged me the other day. He said, watch The Power of the Dog last night. Not impressed. 4 out of 10. Have you seen it? If so, how many out of 10 do you give it? I said, 9 out of 10 was my favorite movie last year. And then he replied, must have been the only thing you watched then. So, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's been interesting. Whether it's gets to that stage where it's overhyped a little bit, it's but these Academy viewers watch a lot of movies, so I mean, it would be a genuine shock if Power of the Dog does not win. But
it's really good. It's a really good list of movies though. It's not like a terrible year where something else can.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Look forward to us doing a special episode with our reactions to the Oscar winners after the Academy Awards, which is only less than a week away at time of with time release. So yeah, look forward to that. Moving to a little bit of film news, I think kind of an interesting side segue. The Annie Awards, the big animation awards, were held in the last 2 weeks. Of course, the Mitchells versus the Machines took out the best animated feature film, which, good for them. Flea took out best animated feature independent, which is very happy about that. But the big winner, and the one that's kind of gotten a lot of buzz in the days since, Arcane picked up a bunch of 9 different awards at the Annie Awards, including Best General Audience Animated Television Broadcast Production, Outstanding Achievement for Animated Effects, TV Broadcast, Best Character Animation, and Best Voice Acting. Dylan, did you expect all the love for Arcane within the animation community?
No, I would have never picked it. I mean, I guess maybe I'm just used to, I don't know, because it's not like I feel like everything that's in like the pop culture world, like, so should win awards or whatever. But there's definitely some stuff where I've been like, maybe Dark Knight should have got a bit more love, maybe Black Panther should have got a bit more love and awards. Maybe I'm used to the actual good sort of pop culture sort of, and obviously there hasn't been any good video game movies, so it's not really a comparison there. But yeah, maybe that's why I wouldn't assume that because it's in that sort of realm of pop culture stuff that it wouldn't have picked up much award wise. But no, well deserved, obviously. So very good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a little bit surprising for it to be so successful, but yeah, it's a series that definitely we loved. Very cool animation style, great performances. Definitely worthy of all the love and attention it got. So, looking forward to that. Looking forward to season 2 of Arcane. Of course, you can go back and listen to our spoiler casts of each act of Arcane on the What Do You Want to Watch feed. So, cool time to plug that. Dylan, I just talked about the Adams Project, in which Sean Levy partnered with Ryan Reynolds on their second feature together. It was just announced that Sean Levy is going to be directing Deadpool 3, teaming them up again for the third time after the Adams Project and Free Guy. This is I think it's interesting in the regard that we are getting a Deadpool 3. This was kind of like, will they, won't they? Especially with the Disney merger and that kind of stuff.
And wasn't Ryan Reynolds taking like a year off making movies, or like wasn't that a thing that he said?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he could have already, and we just didn't know. It is just attached. I mean, it could take a while to like get. I don't think a script or anything has been completed or anything. Apparently, they are bringing back the team that did Deadpool and Deadpool 2. But how do we feel about Sean Levy, a director best known for his Night at the Museum films, Cheaper by the Dozen, Big Fat Liar, Real Steel, a lot of like more PG, family-friendly things, directing a Deadpool movie?
I don't have no problem with it. I mean, he's proved with Free Guy can shoot the type of movie that Deadpool's gonna be. It's just adding in the violence. He's not really doing that, so a lot of time it's special effects, isn't it? So it's not like, he can fuck up and not make it violent enough. He won't be writing the script. So yeah, I feel like he's proven he can shoot large special effects, heavy action stuff, or at least be comfortable directing people around that sort of stuff. So yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think obviously it probably is more Ryan Reynolds wanted him for the job, obviously with their collaborations and like getting along. But probably it helped that Free Guy was a big success. That Disney's like, hey, you should just do Deadpool 3. But at this point, I have no idea what a Deadpool 3 would look like, and that's cool. Whether they integrate him into the MCU is this going to be tied into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness? I certainly hope so. But yeah, it's cool that it's a thing that's happening. at the very
Yeah,
least.
I'm only interested in Deadpool if it does literally the thing I complain about most of the like movies, which is Deadpool's allowed to just like get all the cameos, just have him waltz up to famous like actors and characters that we know, and like just build the whole movie around that. Now that you're actually in the MCU, like do that. That's what Deadpool is in the comics anyway. Like who reads a Deadpool comic for Deadpool's his actual story? Fuck no. Okay, do a time travel story. Do some weird zombies thing. I don't know. Go crazy.
Yep, absolutely. All right, over in the box office, of course, Batman has been reigning supreme, raking in the money anywhere and everywhere that has been screened. But there was one other thing that came out in the last week that took a big bite in the box office, and that was BTS, Permission to Dance on Stage, which took home I want to say $66 million over the weekend on very limited screenings. In several areas across America, it was the number one film per district, even though it was on limited screens. Dylan, is stuff like this potentially the future of theatre content?
What, documentary, like live concert things?
Yes. Or was it just a case of this is BTS, the number one musical act in the world at the moment, and all their fans will go see whatever they're on? 100%
that. Because they've done live, they've done this concert stuff before. I mean, they show wrestling in cinemas. You know what I mean? Like they show they show heaps of things in cinemas. They have for a while now. This isn't the first, so no, it's 100% the fact that they're a massive global phenomena, the biggest boy band since the Beatles.
Wow, this is big.
I mean, maybe. I don't know if NSYNC or Backstreet Boys are ever that big. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, kind of, that it did that kind of numbers, but yeah, it's definitely definitely seems like it's a one-off thing rather than something that could potentially be sustained for the future. Especially when a lot of these type of movies have just gone to streaming services. Like the Billie Eilish one, the Taylor Swift thing, and the Olivia Rodrigo thing is about to go to Disney Plus as well. I think more people would be willing to go just stream it than go to a cinema to watch something like that. So yeah. All right. That's kind of it for film news this week. Let's move into giving some thumbs to trailers. Of course, you can find all this week's trailers in the show notes below, or by going to explosion.com and finding the What Do You Want to Watch podcast feed there. First trailer, We Own This City, created for TV by David Simon and George Pelecanos, starring John Bernthal, Yumi Mosaku, Jamie Hector, McKinley Belcher III, Daryl Britt Gibson, and Josh Charles. Based on the book We Own This City, a true story of crime, cops, corruption by Baltimore Sun reporter Justin Fenton, this gritty drama chronicles the rise and fall of the Baltimore Police Department's gun trace task force. It exposes the corruption and moral collapse that befalls an American city in which the policies of drug prohibition and mass arrest are championed at the expense of actual police work. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer for the new series from the creator of The Wire?
Double thumbs up. Looks great. Can't wait to watch it. This is like classic HBO. Obviously, it very much looks like The Wire, but then you've got a sort of fresh one direct. It's just being directed by one person, which is whatever his name is, who did King Richard. Sorry, I can't remember his name.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks really good. John Bernthal looks like John Bernthal, but I mean that in a positive way. Like he's sort of really good at playing these, which is funny because obviously John Bernthal's in King Richard, not playing this role at all. In fact, he's playing sort of the opposite of this. But in this, he's back to sort of typical Bernthail.
He's playing the Punisher, but like actual.
Yeah, but yeah. What cops think the Punisher is.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks really great. I'm very, very keen to watch it. This is exactly the sort of limited series stuff that HBO, like their bread and butter, this sort of stuff, obviously off The Wire and everything else. So yeah, double thumbs up. I'm keen for this one for sure.
Yeah, this is 2 thumbs up from me as well. I think it looks really good and like of that prestige television that you kind of expect from HBO. I think I don't know if it'll be like super successful or just because of the subject matter and like whether people want to see corrupt cops again. But yeah, I think it looks interesting and definitely looks like an entry point into those kind of series and that kind of stuff. As someone who has not watched The Wire, it's on the list. So yeah, this is coming to binge starting 26th of April. Next trailer is for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, directed by Joel Crawford, starring Antonio Banderas, Salma Hayek, Florence Pugh, John Mulaney, Harvey Guillén, Divine Joy Randolph, Ray Winstone, and Olivia Colman. 2 months after the event of the first film, Puss in Boots discovers that his passion for adventure has taken its toll. He has burned through 8 of his 9 lives, leaving him with only 1 left. He sets out on an epic journey to find the mythical last wish and restore his 9 lives. Dylan?
How weird is it to see a Puss in Boots trailer and see something like from the world of Shrek? I'm like, when's the last time we had a Puss in Boots or a Shrek movie? You know, like it's such a weird universe. I looked it up before Puss in Boots in 2011, but fucking, I don't know when Shrek 3 came out. I don't know if that was before or after. I can't remember the timeline.
There 4 Shrek movies?
Was it 4? Holy fuck. But you know, like it was such a big property, and then watching the trailer, it's like from the world of Shrek or whatever. Like, does anyone care? Like, do any kids know what Shrek is? Is Shrek a big enough property that, like, mums, dads, whoever is showing their kids Shrek? Like, here's a classic.
Shrek Forever After.
Oh, that's right.
2010.
Yeah. So I haven't watched Puss in Boots. I've seen all the Shrek movies. I never actually watched Puss in Boots, though. I thought it looks meh, and from all reviews, I'm pretty sure that was the general consensus. I give this trailer 1 up, 1 down. It looks like it's having a little bit more fun. It's got Florence Pugh in it, so extra points there. Yeah, it was a pretty fun trailer. I mean, I don't know, like it still just looks like Puss in Boots, which it's a character and so like whatever. That I'm like, yeah, like it wasn't like stand out in Shrek for me, and definitely wasn't in love with that character enough to care to carry through the spin-offs. But yeah, I'll go 1 up, 1 down.
I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up as a trailer. I think it's really well put together, like that fun action sequence at the start. Clearly, they've gone with a different animation style to any of the previous films of this franchise. And then you have the fun setup of the premise of the movie of, hey, you've died like 8 times, and like recapping each of those deaths. Kind of a messed up way to bring a story for children, but you know, I'm all for it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very, very well put together. Of course, Antonio Banderas does very well as Puss in Boots. And yeah, it is crazy that it is a decade after the last film. I also have not seen the last film, so. But yeah, I'm keen for Puss in Boots and then to him face off with Goldilocks and the 3 bears, who are some sort of crime family. It's going to be fun to see some of these twists for fairy tale characters all these years later. So yeah, 2 thumbs up from me. This one is coming to cinemas from 15th of September, sorry. Next trailer is for Trust No One, The Hunt for the Crypto King. Directed by Luke Sewell, a group of investors turned sleuths try to unlock the suspicious death of cryptocurrency millionaire Jerry Cotton and the missing $250 million they believe he stole from them. Dylan, you're a fan of these kind of crime documentaries. What do you think of this trailer?
Double thumbs up. I'm all aboard. Let's go. Come on. Netflix is just suckers me in consistently with these damn, especially these ones now where it's like a subgenre of like internet sleuthing. And some of those are bad. Like some of them I'm like, nah, this is like, you're giving like sort of lens to people. Like, just leave that whole thing alone. Like there was that one I watched about the murder in the building or whatever, and it was just like, wait, I was like, no, this isn't it. But then you like watch something like Don't Fuck with Cats or whatever, where it's like, oh yeah, like use some nasty ass people who should get fucking hobbies, but this may be entertaining TV, and he's got the guy, I guess. So like that's the important thing. But or even that Tinder swindler thing I watched recently has a little bit of internet sleuthing involved in it as well. So it's like a whole subgenre now. But yeah, do you know anything about this at all? very interesting setup. Put the tinfoil hat, and I'm ready to watch. Put it on. Let's go.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised watching this trailer. Like, obviously we're very anti cryptocurrency and NFTs and bullshit like that. So I was like, oh, is it going to be all about that? But no, it's like the full swindle people out of this, and then the idea that potentially the guy faked his death makes it very intriguing and definitely something I'm keen to watch. And it's just, edited together very well. So 2 thumbs up from me. I'm very keen to check this out. This is coming to Netflix on the 30th of March, so not long to wait. Next trailer, 7 Days, directed by Rossen City, starring Karan Soni, Geraldine Viswanathan, Mark Duplass, Zenobi Shroff, Aparna Nakchirella, Gitti Reddy, and Jeffrey Self, set up on a prearranged date by their old-fashioned Indian parents. Ravi and Rita seemingly have nothing in common. The unthinkable happens, and the two of them are forced to shelter in place during the COVID-19 lockdown. Dylan, what'd you think of this one?
Fuck, is the cast that big? There's like 2 people in there.
It's probably those are the people on the phone or whatever.
I was like, what the fuck? It's a Duplass Brothers production, so I was automatically intrigued when the trailer started and I saw that sort of pop up. But yeah, I really like it. I think it's an interesting premise. They usually produce romances that are sort of offbeat. I don't mean like horror thrillers. They do produce horror thrillers, but they usually produce like sort of weird romance sort of stuff as well, like The One I Love and a couple of those movies I think they mentioned in the trailer as well. Yeah, I'm very keen. I like the cast. Seen them both play bit roles mostly, I guess, or like supporting acts. So, especially the main dude, who's whatever his name is, I can't remember. He's obviously Deadpool's best mate. He was one of the co-writers or co-writer. So that's cool. I'm keen. I'm down to watch this. I give a trailer 1 up, 1 down.
I give it the trailer 2 thumbs up. I'm all about this. I think it's a cool setup, even though I don't understand why they need to shelter in place together. I don't know if it wasn't like it was a bomb threat and they had no choice but to be together unless they're like in some remote place, which that itself doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like that's the one thing I had questions about too, but I'm like, I'll just wait. I'm sure he'll explain it. Yeah. I think, I know I'm not super keen on seeing like pandemic television and movies, but I think this looks really cool and like I really like the cast. Geraldine Viswanathan's really great in everything I've seen her in. Yeah, I'm really keen to Plus Brothers do look at cool, interesting stuff, and yeah, cool. I'm interested to see some offbeat thing. Also, this just won the best debut feature Indie Spirit Award at the recent Indie Spirit Award. So,
there you go.
Some good pedigree. This unfortunately does not have a release date here in Australia. So
fuckers.
I know. So just keep an eye out for this one sometime in the near future. Last trailer for this week is for Apollo 10.5, A Space Age Childhood, directed by Richard Linklater, starring Glenn Powell, Jack Black, Zachary Levi, and Josh Wiggins. Apollo 10.5, A Space Age Childhood tells the story of the first moon landing in the summer of 1969 from 2 interwoven perspectives, the astronaut and the mission control view of the triumphant moment through the eyes of a kid growing up in Houston, Texas, who has intergalactic dreams of his own. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer?
It was fucking awesome. Double thumbs up. Love the animation. I love the ridiculous setup that it's sort of like this story's too silly to do live action. So to sort of add that next element, let's do it as animation, but everything's animated, sort of like that semi-realistic, like we can tell who the actors are. Yeah, so you can tell who the actors are and everything like that, which is really cool. I don't know, the whole trailer just gave off it's got sort of a nostalgic vibe for a time period, which Linklater loves to do in his movies, obviously. So that sort of stands out as a director's trademark thing, and then yeah, it's like a weird space mission. I love how they're like, you got to keep it a secret from your friends. You can't even tell your parents. And you got this kid going on a space mission. The whole setup's just dumb, but like, I'm all aboard. Yeah, double thumbs up. I thought it was a really good trailer. And it's been a while since we've had a Linklater release, so it's been like 3-4 years, I think.
Yeah, Boyhood would have been his last, maybe?
No, it was Where'd You Go,
Oh,
Bernadette? Whatever. Where Are You, Bernadette? Whatever, that one.
Yeah. Where'd You Go, Bernadette, starring Kate Blanchett, yeah. It was the last one. Interesting. Yeah, I'm all about it as well. 2 thumbs up. I think, that rotoscope style, which is not done on a lot of things, it really works here. And it's like, obviously, you can tell it's Zachary Levi and Glenn Powell telling this kid that they need him on this space mission because they built a lunar lander that was too small.
Such so dumb.
It is
and it's
a dumb setup.
It's also like, what else do you have going on? Like, not like your grades are good. Let's bully these kids into joining a space mission.
Yeah. So it is a weird premise, but I'm all about it. It's like, yeah, really interesting and could be really good. So yeah, keen for this one. This one is coming to Netflix as well on the 21st of July. So a little bit more of a wait for this one, but yeah. All right. That's all the trailers for this week. Let's wrap up this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch with this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
Now, Dylan, are you familiar with the Twitter account One Perfect Shot?
I am. I follow it. Now, you sent this through, and my one thing was like, how the fuck am I supposed to know which ones they haven't done? So I've just gone with stuff that I hope they haven't done or assume they haven't done. But if they have...
Well, I did give you a link to the trailer for the new TV series that they are doing.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't click on it. I thought it was just going to be to the Twitter account.
So that is why. That's
I
why.
thought this was just random.
No, because they're doing a TV series in which they have directors on to talk about the One Perfect Shot and how they did it. So
like
the premise
based
of
on
this
actual
is,
Twitter, like are they tying an actual Twitter account? Like,
I mean, they're just using it as a branding thing more than anything else.
I feel like that Twitter account should be, whoever runs it should be fucking suing someone. But this is a cool idea for a show.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're getting paid. I mean, they're licensing the name from the Film School Rejects, yeah. So yeah, this is there is 6 movies that they're going to be doing episodes for. Crazy Rich Asians, Heat, Wonder Woman, Girls Trip, Harriet, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So quite an eclectic group.
Yeah.
But yeah, so premise of this week's top 3 is top 3 perfect shots we would like covered in the next season of Perfect Shot.
That's all right. I feel like my list still it'll work.
It's probably it's going to be pretty obscure.
Because nothing I've picked on that list of episodes, so that's the important.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan, what's your number 3?
Number 3, Nightmare Alley, the shot of the woman in white. I'm saying it like that because it's potentially a spoiler, but there's a shot towards the end of the movie, really fantastic wide shot of a character wearing white, and she's got blood on her, and it's just in the snow at night. It's beautiful. Looks fantastic. So I would pick that.
All right. My number 3 is from one of Dylan's regularly referenced movies in this segment, La La Land.
Ooh.
The dance number for A Lovely Night,
The poster.
The one with, the poster. Like, how do they put that together? I think, Damien Chazelle would be an interesting person to talk about how he put that sequence together, and, going into how all the dance moves and, like, the shoot, and it's like all pretty much one shot and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that would be an interesting one for them to discuss. Dylan, what's your number 2?
Number 2 is The Lighthouse, a close-up shot of Willem Dafoe cackling at the camera.
Okay.
Because I want to know what shrooms they were on.
That's fair. My number 2 is 500 Days in Summer, Expectations versus Reality. That whole sequence is one of my favorite things in cinema. Beautifully captures so many nights that you've wished have gone, you hope will go one way and do not go that way. I think it'd be interesting to hear Mark Webb talk about how he, directed them, how they pull that together, and then like the music choices and all sorts of different elements to that sequence. So yeah, that's my number 2. Dylan, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is just about any moment from Blade Runner 2049. So this pick actually worked out quite well for this now that I know what the actual the point was. Yeah. Obviously that movie is just made of, you can nearly pick anything. I mean, I don't think there's a scene in that movie that I probably couldn't find a freeze frame and you could turn it into a wallpaper or, you know, poster on your wall sort of thing. So many beautifully shot moments. If obviously you've got this, I feel like the standout ones is him, Ryan Gosling, like looking over at like the giant hologram of Ana de Armas, the robot, like his AI companion, but like the different version or whatever. Or that, or like him walking off into the desert is sort of another one of the famous ones, like Las Vegas sort of thing there. Or even just like, I'd love the rain coming down at the end, like what that signifies for that movie and that moment. And, you know, there's so many. So, or even just the rooftop, him dancing for the first time, like with her when they have what's the fuck come in, and he like pays her to do the
the sync up surrogate.
Surrogate. Yeah, that like there's just so many moments. I don't know which one I personally would pick. I'd be happy with any of them though. So
yeah, absolutely, it's a good pick. My number 1 is from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the What Up Danger, jump scene. I think, having to hear the animators, how they put that together, because obviously seeing bits and pieces of how they had to kind of bend the world to make it look right. And just like the process of coming up with that shot. Getting the music, animation, the costume, all that. I think it would be quite interesting. I will say I had 2 very close runners-up. One was very recency bias, but the sequence from the Batman where it's the muzzle shot, muzzle gunfire shot in the hallway. How the hell they pulled that off? I'd love to know how they did that. And then my other pick was the final race, the final lap of Speed Racer. I think that would be cool to hear the Wachowskis talk about that and how they pulled that all together, especially with their crazy Speed Racer style. So yeah, let us know your top 3 perfect shots you would like to see covered on One Perfect Shot by going to explosion.com/Twitter or jump into our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser or leave us 5 stars anywhere that you can leave 5 stars, or you can just tell people about the show. It's quite good. If you like this episode, $1 worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.